All right, while history points to what could be a big week ahead for Republicans, this election season is full of several tight, dramatic races that are really becoming down-to-the-wire fights for the control of the Senate.
And for those who don't like to vote on the midterms, don't think it matters, here's why. Colorado, New Hampshire, Georgia, just to name a few, are among the nearly dozen too-close-to-call races right now from coast to coast that could all come down to voter turnout 3 days from now. No matter how you look at it, Tuesday night could turn out to be a nail-biter for both parties. Joining us now for more, Mo Elleithee, the DNC Communications Director, and Sean Spicer, RNC Communications Director. Thank you both. Mo, I want to get right to it with you. Republicans do seem to have a lot of momentum when you look at the polls. What are you predicting come Tuesday?
I'm predicting it's going to be a very late night for both Sean and me. I think you're right. I think there are a lot of races that are way close to call, races that Republicans thought they had put away months ago or were close to putting away months ago. We saw a late surge by some of the Democrats, and I think it is going to come down to turnout in a lot of these states. I think we're also going to see a lot of really interesting races in governor's races around the country, and I'm predicting that by the end of the night, you'll actually see more Republican governors lose than you'll see Democratic senators lose.
Hey, Sean, 20th anniversary of the contract with America, and we're going to have former House Speaker Newt Gingrich on in the 10 o'clock Eastern hour. One of the reasons that the former speaker says that the Republicans had so much success in '94 was because they laid out their plans and they said, here is what we will do, and if we don't do this, hold us accountable. Can you tell the viewers what the Republicans who are running right now are running to accomplish, not just to be the Obama alternative? What is the Republican positive direction?
Yes, absolutely. And Speaker Boehner's laid out a roadmap of 5 things that the House would immediately tackle: improving education, reforming the tax code, reforming the legal system, regulatory reform, that would all sort of get the economy moving again, restore some certainty to the job market, and then help people in education, both at the K through 12 angle, and then look at making college more affordability when it comes to education. So I feel very good about the positive agenda that we've laid out. Here at the RNC, we laid out what we call American Renewals Principles a few weeks ago, which were 11 principles that Republicans up and down the ballot were campaigning on. So, I mean, we have a very positive agenda that candidates, whether they're running for mayor or state legislator all the way up through Congress and governor, are talking about that they would enact at their level of government. So that's something that we're very proud of, and people should take a look at.
That has been accomplished? What's the progress on any of that? I mean, to lay it out over the last several months, what progress has been made there at all?
Well, look, I mean, the only branch or the only house of the branch of government that we control is the House of Representatives. That's all that Republicans control right now. They've passed over 330 bills that have sat over in the Senate and haven't been acted on by Harry Reid and the Democrats over there. So when it comes to actually getting things done, the only part of government that's actually moving things along is the Republican-controlled House. And the reason that we're going to take over the Senate on Tuesday night is because I think the American people recognize that a lot of those bills that have gotten passed over are frankly bipartisan, and by Harry Reid saying no to everything, not moving any bills, that nothing's getting done. And I think that once we replace Harry Reid with Mitch McConnell and have a Republican majority, we're going to start seeing things get put on the president's desk and a focus get put on moving America forward, getting the economy back as the #1 focus of Washington. So I think the American people are right to see a lot of dysfunction in Washington, and let's change that.
Sean is a good friend and he's good at his job, but even he, I think, has a hard time selling this notion that the Republican House is the only branch of government that is working. I think the Republican Party lost its right to argue that it is a functional party the day it shut the government down, and it cost our country $20+ billion, cost our economy that, because of an ideological obsession they have. Let's be clear.
Look at you guys control the government.
Hey,
the
Sean, let me
IRS, the GSA,
Don't give Mo a chance to finish, please.
Sean. See, this is the problem with the Republican Party. Sean is playing right into it. Look, there's immigration reform that's sitting in the House that has bipartisan support. It won't even come up for a vote thanks to the Republicans. They're not moving. raising the minimum wage. They're not moving on helping alleviate the student debt burden. Democrats are trying to fight for all these things. Now, Mitch McConnell has said that if the Republicans take control of the Senate, they will continue a lot of these same ideological battles that could lead to another government shutdown. They are promising more dysfunction if the president tries to move on immigration reform, if we try to move on this middle-class agenda that the American people overwhelmingly support. And so I think trying to argue that you're the only ones that can get anything done has just proven not to be the case at all.
Hey, let me ask you, Mo, before we wrap up here, we heard from Congressman Charlie Rangel that there are some Republicans who don't believe that slavery is over. What do you make of that comment?
I hadn't heard that comment, but look,
you hadn't heard that comment? I think everybody who's following the race has heard that comment.
And there have been a lot of comments about race made in this race.
Yeah, no, look, there's obviously a lot of comments that have been made about race, and I think that Democrats are out there trying to motivate folks to vote. Republicans are out there trying to motivate people not to vote.
Is that a motivator? To say that Republicans believe that slavery is not over, that's a motivator to get people to vote?
Look, I personally do not believe.
Come on, Sean. Let me
Sean, I'm not going to.
Because I want to come to you, Sean, about Lindsey Graham. But let me come to you about.
Yeah, and Sean, I'm not going to get into a debate with you over tactics, given a lot of the despicable stuff that we have seen from Republicans around the country. That, frankly, knowing you as a person, I think you yourself would also be disgusted with. That we're seeing from a lot of your candidates. But look, do I think the Republican Party believes in slavery? No, I don't believe the Republican Party believes in slavery. I do think the Republican Party is doing a lot of that, one, hurting minority communities, and two, in terms of its policies, and number two, is doing a lot to actually suppress the vote. And that is something that I think is going to come back and bite the Republican Party in the behind, both in this election and long term, because it cannot sustain a system where it continues to suppress the vote and tell people that their voice shouldn't matter.
Sean, how has the Republican Party reached out to minorities?
Oh, I mean, CNN itself has documented a lot of the opportunities. We've opened offices in Detroit, Michigan, where we've started to go into different communities, whether it's the black community, the Asian communities, Hispanic communities, put staffers in there. We've made an investment from this party that's never been seen before, reaching out and putting staffers and involving ourselves in community events and going out and touching people. But what Mo said is just patently false. Our entire effort right now is, and we've been talking about this for the last several months, is getting out there, motivating people to vote, putting messages out there to encourage people to do that. So it's patently false to say that we're not. If you look at the Democratic Party of today, and it's been well documented by the media, they've become a niche party. The war on women, scaring minority voters that they're going to lose their right to vote. In Atlanta, in Georgia, and Arkansas, North Carolina. Hold on. Let me finish. You asked me that. So what it has become is a question of the Democratic Party talking about how to scare voters to get out there and do things. We're offering an agenda to move America forward.
We got to wrap it there.
Women are a majority of the
We got to wrap it there.
Women are a majority. They're not a niche.
Mo, Sean, thank you very much. And of course, the program